I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
Pretty exciting that we continue to refresh, continue to amass talent. And again, as you said, it's the Emma Hayes effect.
Yeah, I mean, this summer, regardless of men's or women's teams, Chelsea has gone in with a full squad rebuild mode for both of these teams, and there's more coming for both, which is pretty wild. But some of these names are becoming household names because they are that good.
But are you saying that Chelsea went full studs up into the transfer market and just took the legs out from it?
Am I saying it's glorious? Perhaps. We're going to get into it, though, for sure.
Yeah, and I think we should. So Emma Hayes' side continues to win honors. They start to the 2020-2021 campaign the same way they ended the 2019-2020, winning everything. It is fantastic with this team. And it's also about knocking the rust off, obviously. We saw that in Arsenal-Liverpool men's version of this. The women's season didn't have a project restart, and this was their first competitive, as Dan said, competitive match in 182 days. That is a long time, over 4 months. And it's that uncertainty of, how do you train them and everything like that. So, after we've gone through the lineup, Melanie Leupolz's debut, German international, came from Bayern Munich. She is a motor in the middle, absolutely everywhere. As you said, Fran Kirby coming back, which was massive, emotional probably boost, if anything. She's come out and done a couple interviews about what it was she went through, and it was not easy by any means. Glad to see her back. And then obviously we got to start with Sam Kerr up top. She came in last January, got some minutes and different things. And you had Bethany England, the women's player of the season, on as a sub, the Golden Boot winner, I believe. That's what Emma is doing. There's no, I think with Emma that we see, Dan, is there's no complacency. There's no, okay, we're at a good level. And then they go and they went and signed Pernille Harder from Wolfsburg. They're not stopping. And it says that, according to the Twitter account, Jan Agfjortoft, very Nordic name right there, said Chelsea are signing one of the best players in the world for 350,000 euros. She scored 27 goals in the Bundesliga this season. She's playing in the Champions League final today as of recording. And she's already announced, oh, hey, I'm in the final with Wolfsburg. Yeah, but I'm going to Chelsea. That's the kind of Emma effect that she has. She wants to stockpile world-class players and just not only roll the English league, Europe, the world.
Well, it's what Chelsea should have done in the post-Champions League victory, right? To kind of double down and just continue to amass talent, continue to be, ruthless in the way that we evaluate and upgrade the squad, because there might be the right player for right now and for 2 seasons, but how do you put yourself in a position to be most effective? Because, you look at it, we also see, as, Americans, we know about a couple of the new signings City has made, like Rose Lavelle coming over. NWSL, there's a lot of people opting out in the USC here, and that's going to bleed some additional talent into the Uniteds and other teams in the FAWSL, into Lyon, into Barcelona. So what we have done, Nick, I think is fantastic, and Emma and the side deserve a lot of credit for their squad building to get us to a point where we look ready to compete for three titles this season.
Yeah, the goal for Chelsea women this year is to win the Champions League. Mm-hmm. It will take a lot. I mean, clearly, if you followed any of our Chelsea women's coverage 2 seasons ago when we were in the Champions League, it's the toughest hurdle to climb. What's encouraging, though, if you're following this team, is that Chelsea women had never won the Conti Cup before last season. They'd always kind of been, runners-up when they reached that stage. Awesome. They had never won the Community Shield until yesterday. Obviously the Community Shield was on a longer break, just for reasons, I guess. Haven't really got a firm explanation from the FA on that one, why there wasn't a Women's Community Shield, but I'm glad they brought it back.
I think it was because Arsenal was winning all of them, which was a problem. So we need to hit a reset on that.
Well, we've taken care of them, so I feel pretty good about that. And look, I think this team is ready now to make the step up. You don't bring in a Melanie Leupolz if you're not looking to really anchor your midfield, right? I mean, she's, in my mind, it would be, kind of the equivalent of Chelsea were able to sign Declan Rice to have that just absolute barrier. And by the way, our defense is not really I would say the trouble part when you look at Chelsea advancing in the Champions League. It's, can you convert enough of the chances that you create to score the goals? And so I think they've also upgraded in that area. It's wild to think 3 seasons ago, Fran Kirby is like the best player in England, right? Scoring all the goals. Then it's Beth England. Then you have Sam Kerr. Then you have Pernille Harder. Then you have Erin Cuthbert, who's going to have a bounce back season. You have G, who's the model of consistency in the midfield. You have Gro Ryden, who had a bazillion assists last year. I believe it was a bazillion was the number. So this team is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. It's really, really impressive. And final note, when you can have a player like Millie Bright, you pressed Man City back into a corner, the second best team in the league last year, right? Like, they were competing with Chelsea neck and neck all the way. And a Millie Bright can step up and unleash holy hell on a ball that goes in. You got yourself something.
Yeah, as a Tamori howitzer, just copy paste.
I think she hit it harder than he did, though.
Well, so she hit it from like running at it. His was coming out, and so, anyways, hers was much more impressive. Still love you, Fick. Look, you talk about the domination in this match. Chelsea 53% possession, which isn't massive. We had 18 shots to City's 8, 5 on target. Is the problem we need to work on to City's 3. And I think that's what we saw, though. The amount of chances that Chelsea were creating and different types of chances was really, I thought, to me, was like the most impressive. I mean, what I love seeing is that, when you bring in better players, do you get a reaction from the existing group that's there? And then you get those special players that the better players around them, the better they get. And that's G. Like, my gosh. Like, she, Ingle's still behind her, but she has a brand new person, Leupolz, that she's trying to understand. She just goes and pulls the strings. She is that dynamic maestra in the pitch, that she just finds the passes, is able to quick release, get us from transitioning from defense to offense. I am just blown away by everything that she does. And and I think, those front 3 are loving that, probably they can just make a run, and she's gonna find them as well. So that was obviously my big standout one. But again, Dan, 18 shots created is great. 5 on target, not so great. And your woman, Kerr, she got a little bit of the not negatives, but should have done better. I think we got a few looks from Emma Hayes in the sideline too. They'd pan over to her after a miss, and Emma would just be like, "What?"
Emma doesn't really have a poker face. Let's throw that out there.
No,
I think
not at all.
Everything is just worn right on the sleeve.
Does Lampard have a poker face? I mean, no. I mean, I think that's the one thing that is another thing. It's because with Chelsea is that we are passionate through and through, and our management core is absolutely filled with people just overflowing with exuberance at times. Yeah, the thing with Sam in this match is positives, right? Take amazing runs, getting into the position to be available for these shots. Just that the targeting computer was completely off. And there were some where you looked at the switch of play, whether it was Kirby kind of knocking a ball into her path. She had a great run down the left where she was able to head the ball down, beat the Man City defender, and really just had to kind of go a little wide to the right on the shot to kind of knock it around the City's keeper. And just could have had a hat trick, could have scored 4 goals, could have scored 5 all by herself, was just getting into the right positions. And so I think someone described it as Morata-esque online, which I would say is a very unfair comparison because she also stayed on side for all of the attempts, which would be another thing that we just kind of asterisk, is that if you're going to call it a Morata, you have to also have at least 2 or 3 offsides in that as well. But again, it's been a very long time since they've been in competitive matches. And so like we should just kind of caveat that. When you get concerned for a striker, Nick, is when they're not getting into position to actually even take those attempts, right? So you might go 1 match and you might miss 5, but that just leads me to believe that the next match she comes in for, she's going to still be getting into those positions, getting supported by Kirby, who I think we should also talk about because that feels like a new signing.
Yeah, I would say quickly on Kerr, she came in with expectations that were, I think, Werner-esque, right? Very similar. The top professionals, lethal finishers. Everyone saw what she did in the World Cup and was like, "Oh my God, who is this monster?" Like she scored everything she touched in the World Cup. So I think when she comes in a January transfer window, which is always hard, right? And it's just getting acclimated, and then the break happens. It's like, we're so close. Her and England playing up top together in a 4-4-2 before the break was really interesting because she was much more of a playmaker, assist maker to England's goal scorer at that time. And then up top by herself yesterday, she had a lot more service coming in directly to her, right? So you kind of think about the dynamic between those 2 scenarios, and it would provide a challenge for sure. Now, if some of that service is coming from one Fran Kirby, Brandon, I think we all like we went through in our preview with the men's team and midfield. I think we are all rooting for her so hard. You come back from sustained injuries or some sort of abdominal affliction, and it's a big challenge to get back out there and trust yourself again. And she looked great yesterday.